All we're saying is you can't carry a gun in town.
I have 2 guns, one for each of.
When Tombstone hit theaters in 1993, it instantly became one of the most iconic Western films of its time. Fans were drawn to its unforgettable characters, powerful dialogue, and the dusty charm of the Old West. The movie followed the legendary lawman Wyatt Earp and his brothers as they brought justice to the wild town of Tombstone, Arizona. With a stellar cast including Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Sam Elliott, and Bill Paxton, the film struck the perfect balance between action and emotion. One of the biggest reasons for its success was how real it felt. Gritty gunfights, complex friendships, and moments of courage that lingered long after the credits rolled. But for years, few fans knew what really went on behind the scenes. Recently, Sam Elliott, who played Virgil Earp, opened up about what truly happened during production. His words revealed a side of Tombstone that most never realized. A story about chaos, creativity, and the quiet fight to save a movie that almost fell apart before it could become a classic. Before the cameras even started rolling, Tombstone was the dream of writer and first-time director Kevin Jarre. He wanted to create a Western that felt alive. A movie that didn't just focus on the shootouts, but on the people, families, and moral choices behind them. His script was powerful and emotional, full of rich detail about life in the 1880s. When Sam Elliott first read it, he was impressed by how carefully each character was written. He believed in the story and wanted to help bring it to life. But once filming began, it became clear that Jarre's vision, while passionate, was hard to execute. Jarre loved the old-school way of shooting movies. Long, wide shots and slow pacing. But that didn't fit the faster, more intense-style audiences expected in the 1990s. By the third day of filming, Sam could sense that something was wrong. The shots weren't working, and the production was falling behind schedule. Still, Sam admired Jarre's creativity and hoped things would improve. Sadly, they didn't. As tensions grew and deadlines loomed, it became clear that Tombstone was heading for trouble. As filming continued, frustration spread across the set. Kevin Jarre was deeply committed to his vision, but he refused to compromise. Even experienced crew members, like cinematographer William Fraker, tried to offer help and advice, but Jarre wouldn't take it. He wanted everything done exactly as he imagined, down to the smallest details. How the characters walked, where their shadows fell, even how their mustaches looked. This level of control slowed everything down. The movie fell behind schedule, the budget began to rise, and Disney, the studio funding the film, grew impatient. After about a month of delays, the producers made a heartbreaking decision. They fired Kevin Jarre. To many, including Sam Elliott, it felt like losing the captain of the ship. Everyone respected Jarre for his creativity and vision, but they also knew the movie couldn't survive without a change. It was an emotional moment for the cast and crew, especially for Sam, who admired Jarre's writing. He later said it was one of the hardest parts of the whole experience, seeing the man who had created Tombstone's world leave before it was finished. When director George P. Cosmatos was brought in to replace Jarre, he had only a few days to get up to speed. The set was full of uncertainty, and the pressure was enormous. That's when Kurt Russell quietly stepped up. Although he never took official credit, many people on the crew said that Russell practically directed the film. He worked late every night, planning the next day's shots and helping to keep the team organized. Val Kilmer, who played Doc Holliday, even revealed years later that Russell's leadership saved the movie. He and Kurt would stay up late rewriting and restructuring scenes, determined to finish the film on time. Sam Elliott recalled this period as one of the toughest yet most inspiring moments of his career. Everyone was exhausted, but Russell's determination kept them going. Sam said that even though parts of the script were cut, almost 30 pages of dialogue and character moments, he stayed because he believed in the movie and the people making it. It became less about personal glory and more about teamwork and survival. Together, the cast and crew turned what could have been a disaster into something extraordinary. As if the behind-the-scenes drama wasn't enough, Tombstone faced a huge problem from outside the production. Around the same time, actor Kevin Costner was working on his own movie about Wyatt Earp, simply titled Wyatt Earp. Originally, Costner had been approached to star in Tombstone, but he turned it down because he wanted his film to focus entirely on Wyatt, not the entire Earp family. When he left the project, he reportedly tried to stop other studios from supporting Tombstone. According to multiple accounts, Costner used his influence to discourage Hollywood distributors from taking on the film, and even reserved most of the Western costumes available in Los Angeles, so Tombstone would struggle to find authentic outfits. The crew was forced to search overseas for clothing and props, which slowed production even more. But despite these roadblocks, Tombstone pressed forward. Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, and Sam Elliott refused to give up. They worked long hours, reshooting scenes and adding new ones until the film finally came together. When Tombstone hit theaters on December 24, 1993, it became a massive success, earning more than $56 million in North America alone, and eventually, over $76 million worldwide. Meanwhile, Wyatt Earp, released 6 months later, failed to meet expectations. Even critics admitted that Tombstone had captured the heart and soul of the Old West in a way Costner's version never could. Even though Tombstone ended up a success, the process of making it was filled with chaos. William Fraker, the veteran cinematographer, had constant arguments with both Yara and Cosmatos. At one point, he and the new director got into such a heated fight that they rammed golf carts into each other on set. Tensions were sky high, and many crew members considered quitting. Some actually did. 17 people left before filming wrapped. Despite all this, Fraker stayed because he loved the project. He later said that he believed the movie was worth fighting for, even through all the stress. The pressure wasn't just emotional, it was financial too. The film's budget ballooned from its planned $25 million, and the cast and crew were racing against Disney's Christmas deadline. Many of Jara's original scenes were scrapped, and new ones were added, including a dramatic wedding sequence and extra action scenes to boost excitement. After 88 grueling days of filming, the team finally wrapped production. Everyone was exhausted but proud. The long nights, rewrites, and reshoots had paid off. They had saved Tombstone from collapse. When fans talk about Tombstone, they often focus on Val Kilmer's unforgettable performance as Doc Holliday or Kurt Russell's powerful portrayal of Wyatt Earp. But Sam Elliott's work as Virgil Earp carries the emotional heart of the movie. Unlike his brothers, Virgil is calm, responsible, and deeply moral. Sam Elliott brought those qualities to life perfectly. He said that Virgil wasn't a man who wanted violence, he wanted peace and justice. One scene that many fans overlook shows Virgil rescuing a child just before the famous gunfight at the OK Corral. It's a small, quiet moment, but it reveals who Virgil truly is, a man trying to protect the innocent, even when surrounded by chaos. Elliott's steady voice, weathered face, and calm authority made him the moral anchor of the film. Over time, critics and scholars have come to appreciate how much depth Elliott brought to the story. He didn't need big speeches or dramatic outbursts. His silence and steady presence said everything. For Elliott, the movie wasn't just another Western. It was a reminder that real courage isn't loud or showy. It's about standing firm when everything around you is falling apart. Looking back, it's incredible that Tombstone even made it to theaters at all. The film faced countless challenges: creative disagreements, production delays, rivalries, and personal tensions. But it survived them all. Sam Elliott often reflects on how proud he is to have stayed with the movie, even when it seemed doomed. He believed in the team and in the story they were telling. And in the end, their efforts created something timeless. Tombstone not only revived the Western genre in the 1990s, but also redefined it for modern audiences. It wasn't just about gunfights and glory. It was about loyalty, duty, and doing the right thing, even when it's hard. In the years since its release, the film has developed a loyal fan base and continues to be quoted, studied, and celebrated. Val Kilmer's witty one-liners, Kurt Russell's commanding performance, and Sam Elliott's quiet dignity all contributed to its legendary status. Even now, more than 30 years later, Tombstone stands as proof that when talented people come together with passion and purpose, they can turn chaos into something extraordinary. For Sam Elliott, the experience wasn't just about making a movie. It was about learning that even in Hollywood, integrity and heart still matter. For Sam Elliott, Tombstone wasn't just another movie. It was a turning point in his life and career. In several interviews over the years, Elliott admitted that the film challenged him more than any project he had ever worked on. It tested his patience, his professionalism, and even his faith in the movie business. He said there were days on set when he wasn't sure if the movie would ever be finished, let alone become a hit. But Elliott also explained that those hard days taught him what true dedication looks like. He watched how Kurt Russell carried the production when things fell apart, and how Val Kilmer brought his character to life even when he was physically exhausted. Elliott said that seeing this level of passion made him realize that great art is often born from struggle. When the movie was finally released, Elliott didn't expect the kind of reaction it got. He said he was proud of it, but he didn't think it would become a cultural phenomenon. Yet within months, Tombstone was being quoted everywhere, from schoolyards to TV shows. Phrases like "I'm your Huckleberry" became part of pop culture. For Elliott, the real reward wasn't the fame, It was seeing audiences fall in love with a story he and his co-stars had fought so hard to tell. Decades later, fans still approach him to talk about Virgil Earp, often quoting his calm and wise lines. He said it means the world to him that people still connect with a movie that almost didn't make it past its first month of filming. Despite all the tension behind the scenes, Tombstone created strong friendships that lasted long after filming ended. Sam Elliott described Kurt Russell as a true leader. Not just on set, but off it as well. He said that Russell never once lost his temper, even when things went wrong. Instead, he motivated the cast to keep going. Elliot and Val Kilmer also developed a quiet friendship based on mutual respect. Kilmer, known for his method acting, stayed in character as Doc Holliday almost the entire time they were shooting. Elliot said that at first, he didn't fully understand Kilmer's approach, but over time, he realized how much it added to the film's realism. After the movie's release, the cast often met at events or interviews and shared their memories of the shoot. Elliot said that even years later, when they saw each other, it felt like no time had passed. The bond they formed while making Tombstone was born out of shared hardship, something that only people who lived through it could truly understand. That sense of brotherhood was also what made their performances so believable. When you watch the Earp brothers stand together against the odds in the movie, you can feel the real connection between them. Elliot once said, "We weren't just acting like brothers, we became them." No discussion of Tombstone is complete without mentioning Val Kilmer's legendary performance as Doc Holliday. His portrayal was both haunting and poetic, full of wit and sorrow. Sam Elliott said that Kilmer's work inspired everyone else to raise their game. Even between takes, Kilmer stayed fully immersed in his character, often coughing and speaking weakly to portray Holliday's tuberculosis-ridden state. Elliot remembered one particular day when Kilmer was so deep into the role that the crew grew concerned for his health. But Kilmer assured them he was fine. He was simply committed to showing the slow decay of a man who knew he was dying but refused to lose his pride. Elliot later said that he believed Kilmer's performance was one of the greatest in Western film history. He admired how Kilmer managed to balance charm, humor, and tragedy so perfectly. In Elliot's words, Val made Doc Holliday human. You couldn't hate him, even when you wanted to. Their on-screen chemistry, though subtle, created some of the film's most powerful moments. Whenever Virgil and Doc shared the screen, it felt like two different kinds of men facing the same dangerous world, one guided by duty, the other by fatalism. Elliot said that this balance is what made the film feel real. Every character had their own moral compass, their own pain, and their own reason to fight. Over the years, Tombstone has grown from a cult favorite into a cultural treasure. For Sam Elliott, it became one of the defining works of his long and respected career. He's often asked if he realized at the time that the film would become so beloved. His answer is always humble. You never know what's going to last. You just do your best, and sometimes the stars align. Fans have told him how the movie inspired them, taught them about loyalty, or even helped them through difficult times. Elliot once shared that a veteran approached him at an event and said, "That movie got me through some hard days overseas." Moments like that reminded Elliot that movies can touch hearts in ways the actors themselves may never fully understand. Beyond fans, Elliot's own family also held the film close. His wife, actress Catherine Ross, supported him throughout the difficult shoot. Elliot said that her encouragement kept him grounded when things felt out of control. After the movie's release, they often rewatched it together, reflecting on how far he had come in his career. Elliot said that Tombstone taught him patience, and reminded him that success isn't about how easy the road is, but how much you believe in what you're doing. For him, the film's true message wasn't about revenge or gunfights, but about standing by your principles even when everything around you is falling apart. Before Tombstone, Westerns were considered a dying genre. The big, dusty, gunslinging stories that once dominated Hollywood had lost their place in a new era of action and science fiction. Studios didn't think audiences cared about them anymore. But Tombstone proved them wrong. It showed that if a Western had heart, depth, and strong characters, it could still draw crowds. After its release, a wave of interest in Western films returned. Movies like Unforgiven, Open Range, and even TV shows such as Deadwood found inspiration in Tombstone's realistic tone and moral complexity. Critics began to view the film not just as entertainment, but as a modern classic. They praised its ability to mix action with emotional storytelling. Sam Elliott's performance, in particular, was highlighted as a reminder of what made old Western heroes so timeless. He represented the strength and honor of the traditional cowboy, steady, loyal, and true. Directors who grew up watching Tombstone later cited it as one of their biggest influences. In that sense, Elliot and his castmates didn't just make a movie. They revived an entire tradition of American cinema.